Okay, 6.8. Gnana Vignana Triptatma Kutasto Viditendriyaha Yukta Ityuchyate Yogi Samaloshrashma Kanchanaha. So last verses were with respect to being equipoised in mind, right? Equanimity of mind. So now we're saying, okay, one who has equanimity of mind, how does he behave? What does he do? The person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. Person is established in self-realization. Self-realization means that I'm not this body, I'm spirit, soul. So he is established in that, meaning no question of dilly-dallying or no question of doubts. He's very clearly convinced that he's not the body. And he's called a yogi when he's fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. So this is an interesting thing. One must be satisfied with whatever knowledge and realization we have acquired, but at the same time, we should not be satisfied. Okay, so this lack of satisfaction is not like material dissatisfaction. Material dissatisfaction makes us, feel low and discouraged, etc. But this should make us feel encouraged. So that is why Srila Rupa Goswami says utsaha. We should always have utsaha, enthusiasm. So we are satisfied, but still we have that eagerness. I want more. I want to know more about Krishna. I want to realize Krishna more. But we should be satisfied. So which means that sometimes, we might have a lot of challenges with our bhakti, practice of bhakti, sadhana is not going all right, etc., etc. We don't have to become discouraged. We can be satisfied in the sense that, okay, whatever, to the extent of my surrender, to the extent of my sadhana, I am doing, but not become complacent, satisfied, right? So, but yearn for more. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. So this person who is a yogi, who is fully satisfied, he doesn't have any doubts. He is situated in transcendence. So transcendence means a stage which is beyond the three modes of material world. So which means that it is not the material platform, he is on the spiritual platform. So he's situated in transcendence. That means that he doesn't come down to the material platform and he's self-controlled. Now, how does he behave? When he's self-controlled, he's satisfied with acquired knowledge and realization. He's situated in transcendence. How does he behave? He sees everything as the same. Because everything is made up of material, Pancha Mahabhuta, Bhumi, Apo, Nalo, Vayukam. So he looks at everything as just made of these elements, and just that it is just taking, it's all different names. Pebble is a name, stone is a name, gold is a name. It's just different names and forms given to the same elements. So he sees everything equal, saying that, okay, all of this is material. And then there is a Jiva, Atma, which is spiritual. That's his vision. And of course, he also has vision of super soul and then the Supreme Lord. Okay, purport. Book knowledge without realization.
Yeah. The voice is clear, but looks like it is low compared to the wired device.
Okay. 1 second. Let me try to increase the volume. Control. Is this any better? Did it make any difference?
Not much, Praj.
Okay, now? Hare Krishna?
Little, yes, Praj, yes.
Okay, this is better or same?
Little better, Praj, yes.
Okay, what about others?
But
Are you able to
it's
hear?
clear. It is, yeah, yeah. Others can also.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I think
mean,
it's a little bit low because you're speaking slow, Prabhu. I think, right? Not the instrument. I think.
no, I'm speaking with another, using another device. 1 second. Oh, let me do this. Is this more now?
Yeah, I think it's manageable. We can go on. Yeah.
Okay, able to hear?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay,
Prabhuji,
otherwise, it's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
now it's better, at least for me, Prabhu.
Anu Prabhu?
Yes, yes.
Okay, you also seem to have some internet issue. Okay. Okay. Okay, so book knowledge without realization of the supreme truth is useless. Okay, so this is like a killer statement. So book knowledge without realization. So which means that when we are reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, etc., we cannot just simply limit ourselves to gnana. Book knowledge is gnana. Okay, so gnana without realization. Realization is vijnana. Gnana without vijnana of the supreme truth is useless. And what does this mean? It means that whatever we are reading in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, we have to actually experience it in our life. And what are we doing to experience it in our life? We are actually following the process of Navavida Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, etc. So when we are engaged in the process of bhakti, the gnana that we get actually becomes vijnana, which means that we actually experience these things. So what Prabhupada is saying here is explained in the next verse. This is stated as follows. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Grahyam Indriyaihi Sevan Mukhehi Jivadho Swayameva Spuratyada. No one can understand the transcendental nature of the name, form, quality, and pastimes of Sri Krishna through his materially contaminated senses. Only when one becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord are the transcendental name, form, quality, pastimes of the Lord revealed. So the key here is that one has to engage in transcendental service, devotional service. Devotional service is transcendental. It is not in, it doesn't happen on the material platform while we use material senses, but it is not happening on the material platform. So when we engage in this transcendental service, called devotional service, by the 9 ways, now with the bhakti, then only we can understand Krishna. Why? Because Krishna cannot be understood by our ability. Krishna has to reveal himself to us. Swayam eva spuratyada. Swayam eva. He himself spuratyada. He will reveal to us. Based on what? Sevan Mukhehi Jivado. By doing transcendental service, starting with the Jivha tongue, which is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So if you are not chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, if you are not doing Shravanam Kirtanam, then we cannot understand Krishna. Then our knowledge just remains book knowledge, and that is useless, Prabhupada is saying. Why it is useless? Because it's not going to help us reach our goal. I give this example repeatedly. We know the traffic signal, we have to, if it is red, we have to stop. But if I, even after knowing the knowledge, if I don't stop my vehicle, then what was the use of that knowledge? It is useless. So similarly, we should always, whenever we read, that is why I keep reiterating this, whenever we are reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, please make notes about what is applicable for you in your life and stage of bhakti. If we don't make notes, if we don't try to apply them in our life, then that knowledge is, first of all, we might not even remember that knowledge. Second is it becomes useless. Because if you're not using it, then you will forget it also in course of time, right? And then somebody might have read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam multiple times, but it becomes useless. Of course, not completely useless, but get some benefit from it, but not the benefit that one actually derives or should derive. Okay, this Bhagavad Gita is a science of Krishna consciousness. No one can become Krishna conscious simply by mundane scholarship. So this is also very important. Sometimes people say, okay, I have understood Bhagavad Gita. and they are not engaging in any form of devotional service. So this statement holds good for them. No one can become Krishna conscious simply by mundane scholarship. So they might be able to chant verses, etc. But if they're not applying Bhagavad Gita verses in their life, if they're not living the life of a devotee, then they really don't understand. Okay. And also the other way also, sometimes devotees, they say, no, I'm not able to understand, I'm not very well educated, or like connecting back to their school, college days or academic performance. Again, that's also not, there is no real connection between these two. The only real qualification by which we can maybe, we can understand Bhagavad Gita to some extent is our sincerity. Sincerity and effort. These are the two things. And surrender. Okay. So these things are important for us to be able to understand Bhagavad Gita, science of Krishna consciousness. One must be fortunate enough to associate with a person who is in pure consciousness. So we are all so fortunate that we are associating constantly with Srila Prabhupada. Because whenever we are reading Srila Prabhupada's books, we are in constant touch with him. So one must be fortunate enough. So we are all fortunate enough to associate with the pure devotee of Krishna. A Krishna conscious person has realized knowledge by the grace of Krishna because he is satisfied with pure devotional service. So we should be satisfied with pure devotional service. We should not be hankering for something else, because this is the pinnacle. This is the pinnacle of all achievements, accomplishments that is possible in this material world, even in the spiritual world. But of course, in the spiritual world, everybody is on the platform of pure devotional service. So it doesn't, it's not seen as an achievement. But in the material world, definitely coming to the platform of pure devotional service is an achievement. Achievement, again, English word achievement has this negative connotation of me having achieved it, or reaching, let me put it that way, as reaching this stage, because it's not just our effort, it's the mercy of the Lord. By realized knowledge, one becomes perfect. So this is important, realized knowledge. Again, realized knowledge means knowledge that we are applying in our life. By applying that knowledge, one becomes perfect. That is the whole process of bhakti. Is to engage in bhakti, at the same time live our material life in such a way that by applying the principles of our instructions given by Krishna, so that we can become perfect. By transcendental knowledge, one can remain steady in his convictions. See, this is also very, very important. Prabhupada's purpose are just, mind-boggling. By transcendental knowledge, one can remain steady in his convictions. We should have transcendental knowledge. What does transcendental knowledge mean? That I am not this body. I don't belong to this material world. I am a servant of Krishna. As a part and parcel of Krishna, I am actually qualitatively as good as Krishna. So this is all transcendental knowledge. By this transcendental knowledge, one can remain steady in his convictions. Mostly people on the material platform are not steady in their convictions because they let material situations affect them. They think that material situations are more powerful than them. So they can't remain steady because by force of situation, they give up. But once we know that we are transcendental to this material world and we are servants of Krishna and that Krishna is the Supreme Master, we depend on him and we can remain steady. See, here it's not saying we will remain steady, because that will remain steady depends on our desire. But we can, if we use transcendental knowledge properly, we can remain steady in our convictions. But by mere academic knowledge, one can be easily deluded and confused by apparent contradictions. So this is what I said, like dualities, there's so many dualities. Something happens, then we just change our stance overnight. We can't remain steady. So it is this realized soul who is actually self-controlled. So we cannot come to this platform of self-control unless we have realized that we are not this body. Today we are just in theoretical knowledge of this. I am not this body, but we have to realize. How do I realize? By going through life situations in a way that Krishna has recommended for a realized soul. So Krishna says, Tam Stitiksha Subharata. we have to tolerate everything that is happening concerning with this body. Then we can become realized. Then we can become self-controlled. So we should be self-controlled, right? And when we are applying these principles, we become self-controlled, and then actually the other way around. I said it the other way around. So we become self-controlled. So, for example, okay, let me restate this. So Krishna is saying tam stitiksha subharata. So when there is a material situation, we remain tolerant. That means that we control our emotions, our reactions, etc. When we control, then we can experience, oh, actually this was okay. I mean, I did okay by controlling myself. I was not affected. So then I realized, oh, okay. So this is what Krishna is saying that, matra sparsha sukunteya sitoshna sukudakada. So by applying that verse in our life, then we can actually become self-controlled, and then also we become realized. We experience again, like I'm saying, realize means I experience a knowledge that I'm heard, right? How is this possible? Because he surrendered to Krishna. So this is the key. Like I said, sincerity, surrender. If you surrender to Krishna, then we can reach this stage. We can become realized. And he's transcendental because he has nothing to do with mundane scholarship. For him, mundane scholarship and mental speculation, which may be as good as gold to others, are of no greater value than pebbles or stones. They say mundane scholarship and mental speculation. If you are sitting at work, this is what we are doing all the time. Mental speculation. I think we should do this. I think we should do that. This is mental speculation. This is as good as gold to others because they thrive on this. The more people can speculate, the more they are respected. Oh, this person is so intelligent because he thinks this is possible, that is possible. These are mental speculation. So it is gold to others, highly valued. But for a self-realized person, it is of no value because everything anyway is just related to material things and forms which are temporary and which will just cease to exist in course of time, right? So to re-summarize, so this is a person who is established in self-realization. It's called a yogi. He is fully satisfied. He is situated in transcendence. He is self-controlled, and he sees everything equally. So we should reach this stage, though we are not following the yoga process, Ashtanga yoga process. We are following the Bhakti yoga process, but we should also reach this stage. We should also reach this stage because without coming to this stage, we cannot come to real pure bhakti. Brahmabhuta, this is the Brahmabhuta stage. Brahmabhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankshati. Samas sarveshu bhuteshu. There also the same thing is being said. Sama, equal, treats everybody equally. Mad bhaktim lavate param. At that point of time, person gets pure devotional service. Okay, any questions? Okay.
So I have a question. When we say that, without being engaged in devotional service, it is useless, right? So devotional service, there is 9 processes of bhakti, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, all that. But then how do we take that into account that, okay, we have to have service to our guru and to devotees, maybe a lot of us who are actually in remote location now, right? We are not getting opportunities to serve in temple or anything. So is that also considered a factor where we might not be realizing a lot of things if we would be doing that, right? Let's say if a situation is like you are only getting time to chant and maybe having some time to read Prabhupada books, will that also be considered as sufficient devotional service for some time? Or we will definitely miss a lot of things if we are not doing service otherwise? Is just one point I have to get clarified.
Okay, so see, okay, there are 2 aspects to what you're asking. One is there a difference between Shravanam and practical service? Yeah, so there are 2 types of services. One is service of the mind, then service of the body. Shravanam, Kirtanam and all are mostly service of the mind, in the sense we are chanting, we are hearing, is all service of the mind. Service of the body is physical service practically, when you are. Now this physical service need not necessarily be in the temple only. For example, wherever you are, if you distribute books, then you're doing physical service. If you cook for Krishna, you're doing physical service. If you decorate your altar, you're doing physical service. So it doesn't have to happen only in the temple. Of course, when it happens in the temple, then the potency of that service will be much higher, because like we might not be doing offering worship at home to a deity. So the potency might be slightly different, purity of worship, etc., etc. So it might have some impact, but it's not like zero. Now, more importantly, whether we are doing practical service or mental service, more important is devotee association. Because irrespective of where you are, if you are not having devotee association, then it is okay to sustain that for some temporary period, but not over prolonged period. Because prolonged period, you will feel the difference, and this is true for everybody. So association is important, irrespective of whether you are able to serve at the temple or at home or doing mental service or bodily service. Association with devotees is important. It can be detrimental if prolonged for a long time without devotee association. The simple reason, very easy to understand, right? See, we are talking about realized knowledge. When we have not realized, we should associate with those devotees who have realized. Very easy, right? Then it fills the gap till we come to that realized stage. So then, of course, association also means not, many times I see devotees come and say, Hare Krishna, how are you? How is your work? Of course, this is okay, not okay, but still okay as an opening statement, as long as the rest of the conversation doesn't continue on this lines. Right? So actually the question is, how is your endeavor towards, achieving Krishna Bhakti? That should be the question. Not saying, how are you? How is your work? It's a very mundane approach to talking to devotees. So, when we associate with devotees also, how we associate is very important. If we associate with mundane mindset, then it's useless practically, because that will all get categorized under Prajalpa, because we'll be talking some nonsense which is not connected to Krishna. So association means Guhyam Makhyati Prichati, inquiring, discussing, very confidential matters. That is association. We should always try to associate with devotees who are more advanced than us. And if we don't do that, then we will be missing something majorly in our bhakti. And of course, I mean, also alongside that is the mood of association. That also has to be there. Many times I see, like devotees don't understand, while everybody will see, no devotee will try to push his position on somebody else, like saying, I am senior to you, I'm more realized than you, etc., etc. But we should understand, when we're interacting with devotees, if they are superior to us, then we should have service mode. Right? Like Upadeshamrita talks about this, right? Kanishtadikari, Madhyamadikari, Uttamadikari. Kanishtadikari, we should be merciful. We should show them path. We should guide them. Then similar, those who are similar to us in terms of realizations, etc., etc., we should be friends. And those who are superior to us, we should serve. Of course, there it is more talking about service to pure devotees. But even amongst, may not be at the completely pure stage, but even if they are relatively more superior to me, I should respect them and serve them so that I can also get those qualities. Okay?
Yep. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Rajiv, that even if one is not literate, you mentioned one can understand Bhagavad Gita. So
Yes.
they mentioned about three things: sincerity, efforts, and surrender.
Yeah.
Can you please elaborate on this? Like efforts and surrender, what is the difference?
Yeah, effort means that we can try. For example, see, sometimes we might not be able to read ourselves, but we should at least go and approach somebody else, ask them to explain, or engage in practical service. Because Krishna says, "Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti." So Krishna will reveal the knowledge to us, provided we are sincerely endeavoring. We are putting some efforts. Yatha Sri Krishna Namadi. So say one mukhe jivado. So in doing bhakti, we are putting efforts. And surrender means that we know that it's not my ability. If you think that it is my ability that I am knowing this, then we're like number one fools. So sincerity has to be there, that okay, I'm not trying to cheat anybody, or no, I'm not trying to show off to anybody that I know or I don't know or whatever. Seriousness, also sincerity, seriousness. Then surrender. We have to surrender to, like I said, Guru, Krishna, devotees. We have to surrender, and we put our efforts. We put our efforts. Sometimes devotees says, like for example, like I know so many devotees for so many years, initiated devotees who have not finished Bhagavatam even once. Right? It's it's unimaginable. Why that effort has not come? So effort will automatically come when there is sincerity, and when we have the right guidance. Somebody needs to tell us, saying that okay, you have to read Bhagavatam. Like yesterday, we started one Kannada Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya kind of class. And then basically we were discussing this, saying that, how many devotees, how many times do you want to read Bhagavatam in your life? And then somebody said, I want to just read once. And somebody said 10. And then slowly devotees started saying, okay, I want to read for the rest of my life. I want to continue, keep reading till I die. So the whole point is that we should have that sincerity, saying that, okay, this is what I want to do. If you are sincere, then we'll put the effort. Then we understand that it's not by our ability, so we surrender. So these things will happen. If these things don't happen, then we have not understood bhakti properly.
Yes, Prajit. Thank you.
Okay, this verse doesn't have a purport. Suran mitrari udasina madhyastatvesha bandhushu sadhushvapicha papeshu samabuddhir vishishyate. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, neutral, mediators, envious, friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. Okay, since this doesn't have a purport, I'm not going to be explaining further on this, but just by reading this translation, what comes to mind is that even forget about be seeing well-wishers, friends, neutrals, etc. with equal mind. Even the envious friends and enemies, we should see with an equal mind. First of all, at least I can talk about myself. We should start with first regarding even at least well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, neutral mediators, at least with an equal mind, and then maybe next step is to see envious friends and enemies with an equal mind. And also pious and sinners also. Sometimes we see sinners and we differentiate, saying okay, they are bad, or but yeah, pious and sinners both we should treat with equal mind. Everybody we should treat with an equal mind. Now, equal mind, again, I'm going back to the previous verse also, and another verse where it says sama lostasmakana, the vidya vinay sampanne brahmini grihastini sunitecha papakecha pandita samadarshinaha. So even all animals also he sees alike, but he treats each of them based on their position. So if somebody is an enemy, he will look at him with an equal mind. He will not necessarily, he doesn't have to show enmity towards him, but if that enemy comes and attacks, he should still defend himself. That is his responsibility, which is a Kshatriya, like that. So deal with them according to their position, not just saying equal mind. So, somebody is coming to kill us. Like, for example, Kamsa did Devaki, but Vasudeva tried to protect Devaki. And it's right to try and protect ourselves, because this body belongs to Guru. So we can't just let it just perish like that without any effort. But we still treat everybody equally. So, for example, somebody attacks us, we can still say, okay, this is my karma phala. So this person is being an instrument. I will try to defend, but it is not his problem. I don't have anything against him. He's just a postman of my karma phala, like that. So we should see with equal mind, and that everybody is a soul, and every body is a temple of the super soul, like that we have to see. Okay, this we'll do next class. I think it's going to be a long one. Okay, so we'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Okay, anybody has any questions? General? Anything else that you were reading that you want to discuss? Anything? Hope everybody is reading every day Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. If not, please try to allocate time. Of course, first priority is chanting. Once we reach 16 rounds on daily sadhana, then we move into reading. Not necessarily. I mean, even when we are doing 4 rounds, 2 rounds, 4 rounds, we should start the reading process parallelly. But first priority should be given to take chanting to 16 rounds. Parallelly, we should read every day. If you don't read every day, we will not gain knowledge. If you don't get knowledge, we will not surrender. One might ask, why is knowledge required? Knowledge is required because we are not fully surrendered. For those who are fully surrendered, they don't need any knowledge because they're already surrendered. But because we are not fully surrendered, we need knowledge so that we can surrender based on that knowledge. So we should acquire knowledge, we should surrender more and more and more. That is the whole point. Okay, there's nothing else, then we will conclude. Okay. Vancha kalpatarupyascha kripasindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Samaveta Gaurabhaktavranda ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.